Hey everybody, this is Professor Walsh, and I wanted to go over what a general procedure was, just like we have here in this pre-lab for experiment 9. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go find either in the lab supplement or online on Professor Sherlock's web page, you're going to find the lab that you were supposed to write a general procedure for. Now, the general procedure is a written procedure that includes the reagents, apparatus, and the directions. Okay, the idea here is you're going to write a procedure in your own words, summarizing what you need to do in lab. Now, the pedagogical, the teaching reason why we do this is because in real life, when you become a science major, a lot of times you have to go research an experiment or a lab procedure in a journal or a book, or several in a journal or a book or online, and then you have to write them down. So you have to make sure that you write enough information that you can actually do that lab or perform that lab in the lab without having that journal with you. So that's kind of the teaching reason why we do that. Okay, so now a general procedure should start in the lab. Okay, so every time you write a lab, you're going to do lab 9, every section, lab 9, and this one happens to be called cyclohexanone. Now, if you're doing lab 1, simple distillation, whatever, okay, and so that goes at the top of the page, and then you're going to write general procedure so that we know what section it is that you're doing. And then for the general procedure, you always start with, and so this is kind of the edge of the page, and this may start on page 108, okay, or whatever. Okay, it doesn't have to start on page 108. It can be page 243. If you need to know how to number your lab books, refer back to my kind of general tips on writing that, general tips on writing or having a lab report, lab journal. Sorry. But every general procedure is going to start off with a purpose. So you're going to write a one-sentence purpose, and for lab 9 specifically, the purpose of this is the purpose of this lab is to blah, 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 blah. Who knows? Okay. And so you're going to come up with the purpose. Now, this may be 1 or 2 sentences. Okay. But then what you're going to do is go into what is here. Okay. And you're going to talk about, you're going to summarize all of this stuff. Okay. You're going to say, we're going to measure out cyclohexanol. Now, if you copy it, unfortunately, that's not the right thing. Studies have shown if you want to retain more information, you write with your hands in your own words what you're trying to do. Okay, not type on a computer or anything like that. So you're not going to write add cyclohexanol. What you're going to write is however many milliliters of cyclohexanol you calculated, you're going to say to a round bottom flask, add X milliliters of cyclohexanol and X milliliters of glacial acetic acid. But here it gives you how much, so 6 milliliters of acetic acid. Okay, so whatever you calculate, you're going to put that there. So in the general procedure, as you're writing the steps, you want to make sure you include the quantities that you calculated, and you want to make sure that you include specifically the glassware with the right size glassware, 300 milliliter flask, so that you can go into the lab and just set it up. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that we write the purpose, because this purpose is going to eventually come back, and this is what we are going to write our analysis based on, okay, is this purpose. If your analysis doesn't reflect what the purpose of the lab is, one of the two things are wrong, or maybe both, okay? So a general procedure will just summarize these, kind of all of these steps here, okay? So go through and do this. Write in your own words in handwriting. Now, when you get to the end of the general procedure, if that takes 1 or 2 pages, that's fine. So let's say you you write stuff and you're writing. Oh, what's wrong with that? Writing. Okay, writing. Okay, and then you get to the bottom of the page. That's fine. The way you always end is you put a line through, you initial, or if you're even more formal, you can sign, okay, and then you date, okay. That way we know that this part of the lab book was intentionally left blank, and again, it maintains the integrity of the lab book. You're not trying to add more information afterwards. Okay, so that's a general procedure, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.